OneShul.org. My name is Katsira, and I'm very pleased to be back with you again tonight for Rosh Chodesh Iyyar. And tonight our service will be following the pattern we've had for a while now. People seem to enjoy it, so we're going to stick with it. And you know what? In Jewish tradition, there's no need to change a ritual if it seems to be working for everybody. So I just posted the service a couple of minutes ago in the chat room. Not sure what happened to that first link. My link went from the right link to suddenly a link to some Loft ad. So opening music for those of you who were here was several cuts from Holy Taya's various and sundry albums. I've been mixing in some new artists lately, but decided just to go back to the 3 different albums we have from her to choose right now and play through all of those. I see lots of familiar names, so good to see you all back tonight. I see 2 people who are viewers and 1 guest. So viewers, I hope you will log in so you can fully participate in the service. And why don't we start tonight the way I generally do, with everyone introducing themselves in the chat room and saying where in the world you're from. So I already can see at least 2 countries represented tonight. And I think probably next month, at least for the Shabbat service that I lead and Rosh Chodesh, probably be pushing back to 8 p.m. It's very quickly become summer here in Washington, D.C., and probably get cold again for a little bit, but it's very warm right now, and the sun is definitely up longer, so probably about that time to swap out, at least for my stuff, to 8 o'clock time, which is better for some, especially people on the West Coast, and worse for some of you who are further east. So we trade off throughout the year of who gets to suffer a little bit with the timing, especially those of you in Europe, and there are actually people in Europe here. I know that when we push the hour later, it's much worse for you, so hopefully it won't be too awful. And yes, it's 82 where Aaron is in Ohio. It's, I think, 85 in Washington, D.C. It's went from 0 to 100 overnight. It was, well, not quite that extreme, but it's warm. We seem to have skipped spring. I'm very fond of spring. Hopefully it'll be cold again, then we'll complain it's cold, and then it'll be time for warm. So as we kick off our service tonight, we had a little chat in the chat room going about the Omer, which we are in the time known as the counting of the Omer. And most of us actually this year seem to have not been following it super closely, which for me is actually a little strange because for the last several years I've been following it very closely and really using this period of time and working through various interpretations of the Kabbalistic system of reading of the counting of the Omer and using it as a spiritual process. So it is actually a little strange this year that I'm not. It's the 15th, and so I'm pretty sure, Eric, help me out, that's Tiferet within Tiferet, correct? Yeah, it's the 16th at sundown. So once we hit that, we'll be at sundown. Oops. My backdrop just fell. Oh well. So for those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, I'm going to post something in the chat room. There is Jill Hammer's wonderful book that has great information, and actually also she wrote a book that is specifically the counting of the Omer, and you can find that as well. This is my guide to counting the Omer, and specifically for this week that we're on, if that will help you. We're not going to play with that too much tonight because I am completely unprepared to do that. But we're moving into the month of Iyyar, and Iyyar is a really interesting month because it's a month of healing. I'm going to find really fast, it's the word Iyyar is actually an acronym, and I'm going to find what that means in a second because I have forgotten, sorry. And if any of you remember in the chat room, help me out because it's just completely slipped my mind what Iyyar is an acronym for. There it is. Oh, wait. No, I didn't find it yet. Okay, I'm not going to find it. It is an acronym that has to do with healing. And for some reason, my brain not working tonight. So I'm not finding that for you. Nope, I'm looking and I'm not finding it tonight. So again, if any of you in the chat, oh wait for it. You're probably bored already. There it is. Iyyar actually stands for Ani Adonai Rofecha. I am God, your healer. Here you go. Let me put that in the chat room for those of you who had to sit through that. And if you're watching this later, I'm really sorry that was boring for you. So that's what it stands for. And so this is very much a month to work on healing, personal, physical, emotional, the world, you. And there's a lot to do, especially as we journey our way from Mitzrayim to Shavuot and the holy mountain where we receive our revelation. So, no pressure, just a little bit to do this month. But we haven't even started yet, so let's kick off our service and begin with the reading of intent. And if you're new, I'll actually walk through kind of the outline of the service for you. So we begin with reading the intent, and then we do a Barhu, the prayer that is the calling of people into sacred space. And with that, you can sing along with me if you'd like. But what I definitely ask is that you share in the chat room the name you wish to be called into this space as. It could be your given name. It could be your Hebrew name. It could be a word that's just resonant for you right now. And then I'll sing you into the space. So that way we can connect ourselves across the physical boundaries that we have between us. We'll then move into expressions of gratitude with the chant Moda Ani. And we will end with, we will next move to prayers of strength for the month that is to come. And then finally, a receiving of energy, opening ourselves up to all the wondrous possibilities that are out there. So we have certain things to think of that we need strength for, but after that, we open ourselves to possibilities and revelation. And mitzvah cards, yes. They are right here. I have them. So yes, before we move into the opening of possibilities, there was a special request to continue this practice this month, so we're going to. For anyone who would like, we'll pull one of these mitzvah cards for you as a personal intention to think about for the month. So why don't we dive in? Yeah, okay, people like it. We'll keep doing it then. So let's dive in. Why do we come together each month? Well, we come together as a community to welcome in the new month and give thanks for all the blessings in life and receive strength for any struggles. So let's move into our Barhu. I will sing because, well, if I don't, it will be silence. And then I will sing you all into the space with the names that you share in the chat room. Barhu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name. When I call on the light of my soul, I come home. Barhu, dear one, Ariel Moshe, you have called on the light of your soul. Welcome home. Barhu, dear one, Abraham, holy name, you have called on the light of your souls. Welcome home. Barhu, dear one, Eliav, holy name, you have called on the light of your soul. Welcome home. Barhu, dear one, Tamara, holy name, have called on the light of your soul. Welcome home. Baruch Hu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name. We have called on the light of our souls. We've come home. And one more. Baruch Hu, dear one, in holy name. You have called on the light of your soul. Welcome home. Baruch Hu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name. We have called on the light of our souls. We've come home. Just taking a moment to sit in the space, listen to the birds chirp that I can hear all around me, the traffic, my refrigerator, something else I just can't quite identify. Just take a moment and close your eyes, and I'll be quiet for a second and see what you hear. Active listening can be a very interesting form of prayer, to just let yourself be in the space. For some, the idea of meditation is very intimidating, just sitting there silently. But one way to think about it is you're not just sitting there silently, you're listening intently to everything around you. And by listening to everything around you, you can still that voice that's inside of you. Many of us are, in especially the modern era, I think, plagued with just the constant chatter because there's so much going on. So just take a moment when you can, especially in springtime, when the birds are chirping, and I swear you can hear the trees blooming and the flowers blooming some days. There's so much going on. And the sound I'm expecting to hear soon is the 17-year cicada swarm coming. That should be fascinating. I don't remember the last 17-year. There is metaphor there. It's the last one I distinctly remember is 2004. I don't think I was in an area that the cicadas hit 17 years ago, just before. But I very much remember 2004. I think they were called Brood 10, Brood X. Very ominous. But it's cycles of life, and it's the same thing that we do. We come together each month. We come together each week for Shabbos sometimes. Each year we come together for different holidays. And Judaism also has larger looping cycles. We have our leap year. We have the Shemitah year. And within that, we also have the natural world phenomena, like the 17-year cicadas. And I remember when the 2004, which is, I guess, a 13-year cycle, came, Afterwards, what I remember were the holes in the ground. Big, big holes. Everywhere, especially when I would go hiking in the Shenandoah Mountains. And we have a bunch of mountains around here, but the Catoctin Mountains and the Shenandoah Mountains. And you realize that there were just these holes everywhere in the ground from where the cicadas bubbled up, and they were about the size of a quarter. They were big. And I remember that my husband and I were talking about how maybe part of the role of the cicada in our world, as kind of gross as the swarm is sometimes, is to actually aerate the soil in a way that can't be done in any other way. They're burrowing out and leaving these big holes. So maybe there is something to that. And something to think about, and maybe in the cycles in our lives, those things that seem like we don't like them very much, they keep coming around and around, but serve a purpose within our world and within our own lives. And sometimes those things like cicadas that inconvenience us because there's hundreds of bugs everywhere, and they're big, they're really big, but they're harmless. And they seem like an inconvenience and gross, and yet possibly they serve this completely unknown but vital function, sort of like kashrus in a way. Part of kashrus, you can say that it's health benefits, all these things. We don't really know. And there's so many things in Judaism that we're asked to literally take on faith, and each of us decides for ourselves how many of them we're going to actually take on personally. And so each of those, kind of like the cicadas in a way, we don't know why they're here, but they're here. So we have to, in a way, assume, if we're choosing to take them on, that there's a deeper reason for it, that just by letting it happen, we'll do hopefully some good in the world. I have no idea where that came from, so hopefully that wasn't just rambling for you all. So let's move into our expressions of gratitude, since apparently I am grateful for the cicada swarm that's coming. Very excited about that. And for our expressions of gratitude, we think about everything that has gone right in our lives in the month that is ending now. For some of you, it's past sundown, so you've already transitioned. For the rest of us, we're in transition. But thinking about everything that's gone right, everything you're grateful for. And I'll list off some of the many things that, oh my goodness, Erin has a new job, which I want to hear lots about in this chat room, so you have to share. But just think about the fact that if you're online with us tonight, you have to have power. You have to have the internet, which means you either have enough money for a computer at home, or you're enough money for an internet cafe somewhere. You have enough money to pay the internet bill. You have a home, hopefully, because you're online somewhere, and so hopefully you actually even have a home and shelter and food. You got up this morning. You woke up this morning. You've made it through almost an entire day. And for some of us, that's harder than for others. For some people, just getting through the day is a monumental, epic struggle, whether it's from not having enough employment or from just finding the emotional burden of a day to be so overwhelming. So think about everything that has gone right in your life in this month that is passing. Your Passover Seder. I bet most of that, if you had one, went well. Was the food good? What happened? So everything, think about everything that went right in your life, everything you are grateful for. We're going to get to the hard stuff in a minute, but let's start in that place of gratitude. And we'll sing Moda Ani for the ladies, Moda Ani for the gentlemen. For those of you fond of feminine God language, it would be Lifanaich and Vikayemet. And for those of you fond of masculine God language, Lifanecha and Vikayam. So share all those amazing things in the chat room. I will do my best to sing them in. And that way we can all enjoy with each other the triumphs of the month that has passed and inspire each other through what we're grateful for. Moda ani lefanecha, moda ani lefanecha, ruach chai vekayam. Oh, I am grateful. Oh, I am grateful in the face of the one, in the face of the one. Moda ani lefanayich, Moda ani lefanayich, Ruach Chai v'kayemet. Oh, I am grateful. Oh, I am grateful in the face of the one, in the face of the one. Moda ani lefanecha, Moda ani lefanecha, Ruach Chai v'kayam. Oh, we are grateful. Oh, we are grateful for new jobs, community, family life and faith. Moda ani lefanecha, Moda ani lefanecha, Ruach Chai v'kayam. Oh, we are grateful for delicious matzah ball soup, for friends old and new, shelter and just getting through. Moda ani lefanecha, Moda ani lefanecha, Ruach Chai v'kayam. Oh, we are grateful. Oh, we are grateful for the best Seder we've ever had. Moda ani lefanayich, Moda ani lefanayich, Ruach Chai v'kayemet. One last time the English. Oh, we are grateful. Oh, we are grateful in the face of the one, in the face of the one. So many things we're grateful for. In my case, along with my husband, my home, my pets, my family, my friends, my community, I will say something else I am grateful for is that I had a new idea for a Haggadah 2 weeks before Passover. I had absolutely no time, and somehow there was time. Which way does that go? There we go. And I somehow managed, with 2 weeks, to basically write an almost entirely new Seder. Lots and lots of old pieces in there from my old Haggadah, but got to pull together what I call the beta edition of a new one. And it went remarkably well, considering I had absolutely no time whatsoever. And so I'm very excited, and I hope I have a little bit of time before next year to flesh that out a little further and make it available to other people. And I'm excited because I got to bring some new stuff in, fix a whole bunch of typos that have been plaguing me for years, and most excited that I actually created my own interpretations of every psalm of, really I was about to say hallelujah, but that's not, of Hallel, in those 2 weeks. It was kind of an amazing flood of channeled energy and just interpretations over those 2 weeks, and in 5-minute increments basically I managed to come up with my own interpretations of every one of the Psalms of Hallel. So I'm pretty excited about that. I felt really good about them. So that was exciting, and I'm very happy about that. And I'm very happy and grateful, as always, for all of you who are here tonight with us at OneShul and this community coming together every month and beyond that. I sadly missed Brian B. Wheels, missed his Torah teaching last night. It's hard for me to get home by 7. So I'm looking forward to everything switching to 8 o'clock for the summer. Hope everybody does. Because if you've never been to Brian's Torah teaching, Torah study class, it's phenomenal. He's got great insight, and he's really does a beautiful job of unpacking and opening the text and really encouraging you to explore and see what you find in that text. I don't get there nearly often enough, and it makes me sad. Beyond being grateful for many other things. So now we're going to move on to prayers for strength. This is the part where we acknowledge that things aren't perfect, where we need some help. And we reach out and we share with the community what we need strength for, so the community can pray with us and for us. And we make it very clear to the Holy One and the entire heavenly host, so we can name it. And by naming it, hopefully bring that presence into our lives, whether you understand that is triggering something within the Holy One or within yourself, or both, or neither. But however you understand it, naming has such importance, and it's so important to say out loud what we need, whether it's in this community, whether it's on the prayer wall. And if you've never been to the prayer wall, I know I share it all the time during services. It's really astonishing. People just reaching out from the deepest place of their hearts to ask for help when I always feel like it's for people who don't know where to go, which is kind of what OneShul is sometimes all about anyway, for the people who check other. So now we move into Micha Mocha, a different version for those of you who may be new than you might be familiar with. Same one those of you who have been around are familiar with. It's very simple. You'll pick it right up. Feel free to sing along. But again, feel free also to share in the chat room what it is that you need strength for this month. And actually, this is where I'm going to turn to our fabulous video and, again, the beautiful singing of Holy Teah.
Spirit is flowing, flowing and growing. Spirit is flowing through you and me. Hashem, guide me, be faithfully beside me. Hashem, guide me and bless how I be. Spirit is flowing, flowing and growing. Spirit is flowing through you and me. Shekhinah reside in me, oh wisdom lives inside in me. Shekhinah reside in me, Holy Hashem, guide me, be faithfully beside me. Hashem, guide me, and bless how I be. The Spirit is flowing, flowing and growing. The Spirit is flowing, growing and growing. Spirit is flowing. Hashem, guide me, O wisdom reside me, O wisdom Hashem, guide me, and bless how I reside me, O holy and holy. Bailim Adonai, Mikamocha, Bailim Adonai, Mikamocha, Never Tehilot, Torah Tehilot, Torah Tehilot, Torah Tehilot, Tosefele.
Spirit is flowing, flowing and growing. The Spirit is flowing through you and me. Shekhinah reside in me, your wisdom lives inside of me. Shekhinah reside in me, O Holy of Holies. What did I do? I moved that. There we go. So what is it you need strength for in this month to come? What is it that is in your heart and in your head that you need a little help with? For me, it's finding the strength to both find and then live at my own right pace, to not feel pulled apart by two different worlds, to find the time and the strength to find the time to do the things that inspire me most and that I think add the most value to the world. Yeah. For some, it's just strength to keep moving forward. Strength to love. Did I accidentally give it to where my bunnies over there? I didn't realize they were in the shot there for a second. Those are my critters. So whatever it is that you need strength for in this month to come, know that others are praying for you. Know that you simply need to reach out and that strength is there. The solution to your problem might not just be there, but there are eternal well springs of strength. And if you feel like you're at the end, if you feel like you've reached out and you've reached out and you've reached out and you don't think there's anything left to reach for because you're just tired or it just doesn't seem like it's going to get better, reach out again, because that is an eternal wellspring and there is always more until you're able to give back to it. So don't ever think that it's going to be the end. And I can't explain why we go through what we go through, and I can't explain why there's suffering in the world, but what I know is that there is just an eternal pool that you can pull from, that you can turn to. And especially if it's something that, this is why Judaism is a practice. If you're not practiced, that when you need to reach out, you may not know how. Or diving into that pool may feel completely foreign. But the whole point of practice is so you have those days where you can actually feel it for real. And the days you're just practicing, you might not feel it so much because you're practicing. But those days of practice are really the only way to get to a place to feel it all the time. So that's the same with athletes. They don't run a perfect run. So I hear, I don't run unless chased. But I hear that you don't always, you don't always feel the perfect run, but you practice. So when you get to that big race, you know what to do. Your body knows what to do. Your mind knows what to do. Your spirit knows what to do. And you can have, on the best of days, that perfect race. And that's what we do when we pray and when we practice our Judaism. So I don't like the term observing Judaism. This is not an observational experience. This isn't theater. I know you're there and I'm here, but that's why we have a chat room. So you can engage. This isn't about observation. It's about practice and engaging. So remember, all you have to do is keep reaching, and when in doubt, find a practice, because that repetition can really help see you through the times when you're just not feeling it. I do shacharit every morning. I don't feel it every day. I sometimes just do it. But then there are the days where I feel it. And I know I couldn't have those the way I do if I weren't practicing. So with that, let us move to another practice that has become a consistent over the last few months at Rosh Chodesh, which is the mitzvah cards. The practice of bibliomancy. I'm losing all of my Hebrew words tonight for some reason. There is a very long practice of turning in a moment of need to a Tanakh, to any sacred book, and just opening up to see what you can find and taking guidance from whatever the first passage you turn to. And that is really what these cards are. They're the mitzvot. They are chunks of scripture with intention. And so instead of the bibliomancy, we do the cartomancy, and we use these cards as a way to hear what the Holy One is trying to tell us a little bit more clearly. So I will now invite you all, as I shuffle away, to raise your hands, if you will, in the chat room if you would like a card pulled for you. And then once we have a list of names, I will call a name, and that person will let me know when to stop shuffling and so I know which card is for them. And I'm glad for those of you, and thank you for those in the chat room right now, saying that my little soapbox sermon moment was resonating for you. I'm glad that wasn't just a space that I was in tonight. All right, Ari is first, and I dropped one. Ugh. All right, Ari, this is yours, so tell me when to stop shuffling. Stop. Okay. I got this one a little while back. Might have been this past month. Avoid deception. This is always a hard Hebrew word. Genivat da'at. Avoid deception. Be truthful in presenting and promoting yourself and others, as well as products, programs, and services. Leviticus 19:11. I hate this card. It's very, very challenging, and it hit me all month when I got it. And I found myself being honest and then getting in trouble for being honest. But it was a very illuminating experience to be doing my best to speak truth, and not even terribly uncomfortable truths, and it making people very uncomfortable. So I think that is the month for you, Ari, is to be thinking about where are your truths? And when you speak those truths, even if you're trying to not rattle people, are they being rattled by those truths? So does the aspect of someone trying to just speak truthfully resonate well with the people in the world around you, or does it make them nervous and uncomfortable because it makes them see their own places where they're not being truly honest? So this is a month to be honest with yourself, and as you can, be honest with the world around you. All right, Eric, you are up next, my friend. I'm shuffling. Shuffling. I'm waiting for, oh, there we go. Really? I shuffled. You saw me shuffling. Eric, same one. Okay, what's going on, gang? All right, number 2 on the be truthful in presenting and promoting yourself and others, as well as products, services, and programs. So, wow, month of speaking truth in Iyyar, which is a month of healing. All right, so there's a new place that I didn't go a second ago. So where are the places in your life that you need to be extra truthful to promote healing? All right, I'm going to shuffle these extra good this time, but I shuffled those. You saw me shuffling. All right, who is next? Let me see. Tamara, Miss Tamara, you are next. And Ari, thank you for letting me know that that had really, that was very resonant for you. It is amazing how this works. It's why we do it, right? Lets us have a slightly clearer channel to the Holy One and really hear more clearly because we have the chance to get a very direct message. All right, Miss Tamara. Wait, was okay stop shuffling? Because I'm still shuffling. Okay, I stopped. Not the same card. Yours is Hidur Zekenim. Honor elders. Receive elders with respectful attention to their experience, capabilities, and needs. Leviticus 19:32. Well, there's an interesting one. It's definitely a card, it's definitely a mitzvah telling you to turn outward and to the people around you. So it could be as simple as making sure you're aware on the bus or the subway, if you ride them, for people who are older and might need a seat. Or if there's an older person in your life that maybe for many reasons you haven't honored the wisdom of their years. And being aged, let's be honest, being older doesn't necessarily make you wise. But there is something to be said for the fact that you've survived and you at least have perspective. So think about that this month, which is who are those elders in your life that you need to pay just a little bit more attention to and at least give it a solid listen to, whether you like what they have to say or not, is to offer them the courtesy and the respect of just presence and listening, and then doing what you want with it. But just that first space, which is being attentive, that's really the key word that sort of got my attention. My attention is the word attention. All right. Anyone else? Good, Tamara. I'm glad that that was resonant for you too. Anyone else like a mitzvah card read for them tonight? We have a guest and a couple of other people. If you're just simply viewing, this might be a lovely moment to log in and say hello. And while we are waiting a moment to see if anyone else would like a card pulled for them, I will do the same for myself. Get these shuffled up a bit more. Ooh, I don't think I've ever seen this one. I pulled it, And I thought it was the live in love one. I was like, yeah, all right, I'm good for that. No, not live in love. Yirat Hashem, live in awe. More than love. Be attentive to the power and laws of nature, so much so that virtually trembling in awe, you focus your speech and actions with care. Oh, come on. Know before whom you stand. Really? On the way to Shavuot? No pressure. Leviticus 19:14, Talmud Shabbat 31b. So this is from the Talmud. All right, well, Talmud and Leviticus. Wow. Okay, that's terrifying. Whew. I'm going to take this a little bit as know before whom you stand. Stop getting caught up in so many little tiny unimportant things. And especially with the blossoming of spring right now. And the power of just all of the changes happening around me and my cicada swarm. And heading to Shavuot, it's Leviticus night, that I need to check myself and check my ego. I am okay, God slap taken. I am totally feeling that right now, and I'm actually feeling a little disturbed and freaked out because that is telling me to watch my ego. That is absolutely what I'm getting. Because, yeah, I have no problem with that. Okay, watching my ego this month. Check in with me later, see how I did. Scary. I don't know if I want to open up to receive any energy if I'm trembling before and knowing for whom I stand. Woo! That's a big one. Okay. And it is quite the Leviticus night. And for those, well, you may not be wondering, I'll tell you anyway. I have on my altar upstairs, I have this little great card holder. And I have one card that is from a deck, and it actually has a poem by Mary Oliver, and it says, what are you doing with your one wild, amazing life, or something like that. And then my mitzvah card goes right in front of that and sits there all month as a reminder and as an inspiration. So keep these out all month so I can really look at it and then remember to grab it on my way downstairs for services. Yeah, everything I'm pretty sure was Leviticus tonight. It's a big Leviticus night. Lots of laws. And that's not really, and they're really not all Leviticus. We've got Exodus, Deuteronomy, Numbers. So yeah, it's a big mix, but tonight is pretty solid for Leviticus for everybody. So I guess we all need a little bit of, that's true, we're in the middle of Leviticus for our Parshot right now too. So clearly we have some kind of collective message right now around Leviticus. If someone figures it out, let us know. All right, let's move in. It's almost 8 o'clock and it's like 2 in the morning for Ari. So let's move into our receiving of energy. Hold that thought around whatever card you received tonight and whatever else you want to open yourself up to. And we move into our final portion, the song we are opening up in sweet surrender.
Sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening up. Sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. We are opening up in sweet surrender to luminous love light of the one. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are
Whoops. Wrong button, sorry. As we come out of that. So what are you opening up to this month? What possibilities, what amazing things are you opening up for this month? Whether it is the intention you received in your card or anything else that came through as you were thinking about the Torah portion this week, which is Tazri Metzora. There you go, a little link to the punktorah piece about that. And actually, all this talk of Leviticus had me also thinking that last week, I've actually gotten out of the practice. I used to read the Parsha every week, and I'd read commentary, and I've gotten out of that practice for the last few months. And I actually read the Torah portion this past week, and I had lots of time, so I read a lot of the commentary and the Chumash that I'm using right now. And it was a really phenomenal one because it was all about kashrus. It was the food laws was most of it this time. Okay, at least a piece of it. And while the actual text of the Torah is not that interesting, it was the commentaries that were fascinating. And we're not supposed to study Torah alone, so we don't get wrapped up in our own thoughts too much, but we always have a dialogue. And I love this Chumash because I feel like I'm in dialogue with all of the people and all of their commentary in it. So very interesting thoughts there. And the idea, and I said that I posted in the chat room of what Wikipedia says, at least Leviticus is all about. But I thought it was very interesting, at least in the terms of this conversation. Leviticus seems a little boring because there's lots of rules, but then it gets exciting because there are scary rules sometimes. But I think Leviticus challenges us to think about the Judaism we practice today versus the Judaism of the Israelites, of the Torah, and how we got where we are and how we understand our tribe and our community and our relationship with the Holy One, and how it changes over the millennia. And the Torah and Leviticus, I think, challenge us to all of the rules we create now. Why do we have them? Should we keep them? What about these old rules? And what do we think about some of these old rules? I think some of these things are simply there to challenge us and make us think and say, ooh, no, that wasn't okay. Just because it's in the Torah doesn't mean that it was okay. We don't really think slavery is okay anymore, and it's just fine in the Torah. So I think there's a lot of things in there that are there to challenge us until we're able to see that they weren't right, even though we were doing them and they're in the Torah. So whatever you are opening up to in this month, I hope Iyyar is a healing month for you. I hope this period of the Omer, the trek through the wilderness to Sinai, to the personal revelation and the communal revelation at Shavuot, is a wonderful time for you. I hope you find Miriam's well follows you through this desert and quenches your thirst, whether it's for knowledge, for community, for love, for peace, for rest, whatever it is. I hope that Miriam's well finds you this month and you are restored through the month of Iyyar. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Chodesh Tov. Remember, you are OneShul and you are punktorah. So many of you here tonight are regulars, and you know that. And remember that it's your presence, it's your participation that is so important, whether it's attending services, writing for punktorah, commenting on punktorah, joining in that amazing dialogue that we as Jews have, or donating money. Some people have more money than time. Helps keep the lights on, that's for sure. So thank you so much. Thank you for your kind words, for your participation, for your presence. And I look forward to seeing you all the first Shabbos in May for Kabbalat Shabbat services. And then I will be back again, God willing, for our next Rosh Chodesh together. Have a wonderful night, and Chodesh Tov to you all.